homeware businesses in Australia and New Zealand. And I like Kmart because they're really affordable. You can pick up some really good stuff. Polynesia kind of offer the Kiwiana type homeware. However, none of these businesses offer te reo Māori homeware. So for me, it was just like, whoa, groundbreaking, like no one else is doing this. It's the first of its kind. And for me, that's exciting. And a lot of people would be like, Nick, this is so simple. And I would say to them, yeah, it's so simple. Like, why hasn't anyone done this before? You know? So this was me. So since February, the program had finished. And I decided that this was something that I really wanted to do. I set up my own website, which you can visit, www.taputapu.co.nz. I feel quite flash saying that I got like a website. It's quite cool. But when you're like a design student, you can design stuff like that. And so I set up my website, started selling online, very low key. So I wanted to make sure that I didn't put it out on Facebook straight away. I didn't hit media straight away because I needed to understand how to manufacture, produce my products, send them out before I get everyone else getting orders in, which is actually quite wise. I thought, yeah, that's quite onto it. Because I felt that with Taputapu, it was something that I needed to protect first. It was something that was new, it was innovative, hadn't been seen before. So for me, I wanted to make sure that I got everything right, cross the T's, dot the I's, etc. So the journey from March to about April, May, University had heard about what I was getting up to, they were selling online, and they wanted to help out. And I said, yeah, cool. So they released this media release. I don't really know what that was, to be honest. But I said, yeah, go for it, put it out there. So they sent it out to their networks, like, I think everyone in New Zealand, this is like Māori TV, New Zealand Herald, Waikato Times, Te Karere, everybody, within like, I don't know, a day, less than that, when that media release had gone out, everything just went boom, like spiked. And it was quite exciting, but it was quite scary as well. So I was getting calls from New Zealand Herald, Waikato Times, getting interviews, and orders just went out the roof. Within a week, I had over 50 orders, and orders were coming in on the hour, which was like, oh my gosh, can I actually handle this? That picture right up there in the middle, we had to set up a bit of a Taputapu factory at home, got some mates over, went to pump out, I think, 44 orders that night. So I'm very lucky to have good mates that are keen to help out, because to produce that amount of product, yeah, I don't think I would have done that on my own. And so from there, orders have been steady since that day, and something that I have implemented since I started was that I want to make Taputapu organic. So in that is, I want to feed it the right nutrients. I don't want to quick fast the process, if that's right. I don't want it to be like a really, I want the process to be slow and nurtured. So in saying that, I don't want to apply for loans, basically. I don't want to seek investors, because in that brings the pressure of having to owe people money, owe the bank money. And for me, when you're a student, hello, we're already owing money, so I didn't want to owe any more money. And I didn't want to stress myself out. Whilst trying to be a student and whilst trying to run a business, I thought if I can just manage it on my own, getting orders in, that would be cool. So how I've managed that is that people pre-order. So they buy the product first, I then make it and then send it out. And I'm very lucky that my customers are happy to wait until they order. So like when you buy something online, you usually get it within the next 2 days. But for me, I tell my customers it's going to take a month until you get your order, and they're all good with that. So by doing pre-ordering, if any of you are starting small business, pre-ordering is the one, because then you're not losing out on any money. And yeah, in business so far, and I'm getting profit in, which is cool, and I'm not in debt. And I haven't actually invested any of my money into it yet, which is cool. It's running on itself, that organic process. Some of the challenges though, and that is, I'm trying to find somewhere that could like print straight onto the glass. So at the moment, it's a clear sticker that's a durable type sticker, but ideally I would love to have a factory that could just print them straight on. That's my main challenge at the moment, is trying to find that, who could do that for me. My other challenge is that it's quite hard doing it on your own. Like I said before, I've had mates to come and help me, but the challenge is trying to push the orders out and keep up with the demand. So of late, the last month, I've had to put sold out on my website just to give myself a break. Because, yeah, and it's cool, like I can do that. I'm just like, yep, sold out, no one can get any orders. Just want a break, guys. But keeping up with the demand is one of my biggest challenges at the moment. So yeah, overall, I guess what I'm trying to say is, when I look at who I am and where I come from a small family, isolated city. I'm Māori from a solo parent home. So statistics are already against me, I guess, when I look at it. But what I've learned along the way is that don't be confined by your circumstances, because it's your circumstances that don't confine you, if that makes sense. And look for opportunities. If you come from a similar background to mine, or even harder, we have to take the step out there and actually look for opportunities. Things aren't going to be offered to you on a platter. You have to work for it, and you have to apply yourself. You know, when you see things and you think, oh, that's a good idea, well, go for it. Apply yourself is probably what I want to encourage you today. In this meantime, before I wrap up, I'll play for you this little clip that my mate had made. There is an apathy pervading the whole of the Māori world, and the language is its victim. Until the Māori world wakes up to the fact that unless it does something, the language is going to die. These words from Timoti Karetu will be the constant reminder of the why. Taputapu was created for this reason, to help be part of the solution to revitalise te reo Māori. Ko wai ahau, ko hekerangi te maunga, ko waiapu te awa, ko ngā tiparau, te aitanga mahaki, me te whakatohia ngā iwi. Ko Niki Kennedy ahau. I pakeke mai ahau, ki tūranganui a kiwa, koe anō, kei kirikiri rō tō pukangi nai nei. Nā te mea, kei te whare wānanga o Waikato, ahau, e ako ana. Tēnā koutou katoa. Taputapu started in 2015 in November, and I was applying for the Waikato Summer Startup Scholarship Program. Basically, I was brainstorming about an idea that I could come up with a social enterprise business, and this is what I came up with was Taputapu. Basically, it's about combining design and te reo Māori together and creating te reo Māori homewares as a way to bring te reo Māori into homes and to encourage whānau to kōrero Māori every day. In the future for Taputapu, I see te reo Māori being normalised. So everywhere we go, we'll see it in our homes, in offices, in organisations, in schools, everywhere. So that's my aim with Taputapu, and ultimately I want to see and help other Indigenous languages express their language through this way. So that's the future for Taputapu. One of my highlights of doing Taputapu is I get a message from a good friend of mine back in Gisborne, and she had ordered her a set, and she messaged me saying now that she's got her Taputapu set in her kitchen, it's now encouraged her to learn te reo Māori. So she's Māori from the coast, but has never really connected to her te ao Māori side. And she is all excited now to learn the reo. She wants her girls to be speaking te reo Māori, so I've given her like little phrases in the morning of how to kōrero to her children in te reo Māori. She's looking at different classes that she can take. She's moving up Torotoroa and wants to put her girls into kohanga. And that for me is exciting, and I'm like, man, this is why I'm doing Taputapu, is to help families to kōrero Māori and help people connect to their Indigenous language. So that's a highlight. My next stage in Taputapu is to get 90 orders out this month. No pressure. But if anyone wants to help, that would be really cool. Yeah, 90 orders, I'm just like, oh hell. But yeah, I can offer kai and and maybe a koha. But yeah, holla mai if you want to help. But definitely the next stage, I'm thinking next year, is China. I think if I need to manufacture bulk of my products, it's China is where it's at. I'd love to manufacture here in New Zealand, but unfortunately it's really expensive. So I'm making the move to go to China. I don't know how I'm going to get there. I might have to start pedaling now, but I'm just chucking it out there because I believe that resources follow vision. So if China is where Taputapu needs to go, then I believe that the resources will come, and I just have to have faith in that. So yeah, that's basically me for today. I'll leave you with one more thing that I have learnt in this journey, is that when you're in anything, it could be business, it could be your studies, everything seems to be out here. You've got this huge vision and everything seems so big. But something that I have learnt along the way is that one step forward is better than no steps at all, because at least you're making progression and not standing still. So nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou.
Before we take questions, we'll just give Nikki a couple of minutes to have a breather. And if everyone can turn behind them and say, gee, you're looking good today. All right. Before we go into questions, though, we'd like to take this time to acknowledge our acting dean of the Waikato Management School, who's here today, Professor Deborah Willis. So thank you very much for coming. Okay, we've got enough time for a few questions. Would anyone like to ask me any questions? At the back.
You're online. Have you ever thought of opening up a boutique?
I have, yep.
The OG, just one in Rotorua, one in Auckland, one in
Yeah. I have, at first I wanted to steer away from them. I'm like, no, don't get a shot. But when I think about it more, I like it, and I envision an old school villa. Bottom floor is products, top floor is a main cafe, and in the cafe you could have Te Reo Māori classes. You could have hui up there, I could have my offices up there. But yeah, I do see a shop. And also Māori literature as well would be in another room. I'd love to do that.
You look like you have a question ready to burst there.
Just say that.
Any other question? All right, let's give Nikki another hand. We just have a little koha from the Kīngitanga and Waikato-Tainui. Before we have a transition into our next one, if you find one of these in front of you, if you write your name and contact details on the back and hand them to me at the end of the session, we've got 3 prizes. We'll contact you for that. So if you've got that form just in front of you, name and contact details, and then we'll just have and the last announcement is, if you could move into the middle, because there's a lot of people in the outside who want to come in for this next session of the program. They're on the front. I'll find some more.
Well, they have to put us after you.
I was going to put these up.
Oh, yes. Oh. You put them up. Should we put the top one up or should we put the other ones up? Yeah.
Just shut it down. It's recording now, but we'll do. Did you bring yours? Yeah.
Do you want some bacon with these ones?
Oh, yeah, there's some.
What's happening with these?
Oh, they're just posters.
Because we've run out of content. What time are you starting? Oh, okay. Ooh.
Does this not work?
I don't know. You got a chair for that?
Yeah.
For the
We'll just pick one out. Oh, it's all good.
Is this all good? Kia ora everyone. I hope you guys are all enjoying our session this morning. Just following up on the beautiful kaupapa that Nikki shared with us earlier. We've got some more kaupapa from other students here within the management faculty. They are also Māori students as well. They're also good friends of mine. I hope you guys are all ready for them to share their kaupapa with you as well, as much as I am. So Bronson comes from Whakatane and Chris comes from Hastings. They're both studying here, both doing BMS honours, majoring in e-business and strategic management, for those students out here who might be taking those papers as well. And homai te paki whānau for Chris and Bronson.
Oh, yeah, good idea. We're looking for some volunteers. Anyone want to be a volunteer? we're looking for the quietest volunteer. Someone that doesn't come up here regularly. Oh, perfect,
Awesome.
perfect.
Yay!
Yay! What's your name, sorry? Monica. Monica, nice to meet you, Monica. I'm Bronson. That's Chris. Monica's going to be our slide shift technical expert today. So when you hear the word chirp, you split from one screen to the next screen. We don't have a clicker today, so we have to improvise. When you're ready, I'm going to split you into sections. So everyone from here, he's not going to move. This side's going to be 1. Everyone from here to here, use a 2 in the middle. From there onward, use a 3, okay? So 1, 2, 3. The reason why I'm doing that is because I've got a little story for you today. When I was coming to, we were approached about a month ago from Pauline and asked if we wanted to do a speech on Kīngitanga Day. Chris and I looked at each other and we were scratching our heads like, hey, what are we even going to say? But we gladly accepted. We jumped on board and said, yeah, we'll do it. We'll smack it up the park and we'll just, give it a go. For the last 4 weeks, we've been working on our presentations, like fine-tuning it, making sure it's like the best presentation you're ever going to see, the most majestic speech you're ever going to hear from 2 Māori boys that have no idea what they're talking about, and just a whole heap of yarns, really. So we've been working a lot hard. From number 1, I want you to do this action for me, please. Could you just go like this and don't stop? Everyone from number 2, can you do this, please? Everyone from number 3, can you go like this, please? And make sure those eyes are coming out. Continue to do that, please. Why? And look around at each other while you're doing that. A quick story. Quick story. Half an hour ago, I got to university, and I was so pumped for the speech today. I was like, damn, I'm going to knock this out the park. I got here and I realised that I had forgot my iPad at home. So about half an hour ago, I was like this, stab, stab, stab. What am I going to do? And then Chris rolled up to university and I told him his speech was also on my iPad. So, sorry ladies and gentlemen, but we've actually had to resort back to the good old pen and paper for our speech today. So we've had to wing it and just jot down a few notes of what we're going to say. So welcome to our presentation.
So like Bronson said, it's been a bit of a shambles so far, but if you keep with us, we'll keep rolling and we can all go like this together. So, yeah, I forgot my iPad, so I'm going to have to resort to reading it off a cell phone. But to try and change it up from the usual presentations, we decided I'll introduce Bronson and Bronson will introduce me, just so you can get to know us a bit more. You'll find out, though, that we wrote our own introductions, and you'll see why as we go. So, Bronson Waka. He hails from the mighty Tūhoi tribe in the monumental Eastern Bay of Plenty.
Not all of us can be from there, guys, sorry.
He's from the capital of New Zealand, Ruatoki. Does anybody know where Ruatoki is? A few of you. Keep strong, keep strong. Number 3, he's a very vocal student and he could not sit still at school. He was very hyper in class, and as his teacher said, he always had a lot of potential, but he always distracted his peers. It's fair to say that Bronson was the typical class clown. Bronson soon realised that he needed to make a change in his life, and he decided to take up an offer to travel and play rugby in North America. Bronson spent a couple of years overseas before he got the cut from the team, and he returned to New Zealand and began working for Fonterra. The botulism scare a few years back was a result of Bronson working at Fonterra. No, actually that's not. But working in that environment led him to think and make long-term decisions about his life. So he decided he was going to come back to uni and pick up the life of a poor, broke student. Bronson is currently studying a Bachelor of Management Studies Honours, double majoring in electronic business and strategic management. He brags that he is a straight C+ student. He has since developed a real passion for entrepreneurship and has always dreamed of owning his own business because he really dislikes taking orders from other people. Bronson joined TRN, or Te Ranganaku, the Waikato Management School Māori Student Network, in his second year at university. This opened into a new opportunity and allowed him to enter into the Innis 48 business competition, which we'll talk more about later. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause for Bronson Waka. So I forgot to say cheer before we see that handsome face? One more. Yeah. Funny how that works out, eh?
For some reason, that's not how I thought I wrote that down on a piece of paper. But hey, same goes, big nose. This is Christopher, hailing from the best and sunniest bay of New Zealand, Hawke's Bay. There's only one bay, and that's Bay of Plenty, y'all. He descends from a long list of fierce Ngāti Kahungunu warriors. Ooh. Some of his earliest achievements include a perfect 8-week attendance in detention during primary school, and a whopping 92nd place at his cross-country event that year. Fair to say there was only 92 contestants. It was clear to say that he was not the sharpest tool in the shed, but Chris was clearly a master of talent and skill. In high school, he sharpened up, and because of this, he became a prefect in his final year. Seeing the value of education in his job, after this, he went and did his mission for 2 years in Utah. Chris is a Mormon. I'm going to say beware, because for the last 2 years he's been trying to get me going over to church. It's a bit difficult, but we'll see what goes. After his mission, he moved back to Australia, where he worked for a recruitment company. And then he soon realised that education was really important. And not going to lie, it actually is a little bit important. It opens doors for you. From there, he decided that he needed to come back to New Zealand to study, and enrolled in a massage therapy course. And his girlfriend, now wife, soon gave him the uppercut and said, "You are not doing that. Your hands are not going all over the place." He is obviously starting the same as I am. A BMS with honours, double major in e-business and strategic management, and has a desire to work for himself. He doesn't want to work for a big corporation. So ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Hawke's Bay Finance.
Can we get another round of applause for Hawke's Bay, please? Yay! I think that's been a running joke between me and Bronson. We always tease each other about where we're from and where we've been. But you'll see throughout today, I guess, how our stories or how our lives are kind of intertwined. So, how our entrepreneurship journey started. This fine specimen on the right, that's me. Always eating. Entrepreneurship. So entrepreneurship to me started from a young age. My father was actually an artist. So he was a labourer, factory worker, but at the same time he airbrushed murals, screen printed designs. He was quite passionate about art, but because art doesn't really pay the bills, he had to take up other work. But seeing his example through life, I saw how he was able to transfer ideas, or I guess skills, into money. So I always had big dreams growing up. I wanted to be an inventor, I wanted to create new things, I wanted to be somebody that had these really big ideas and could make money from it. Toasted music is probably as far as I got when I was a kid. But growing up through that stage, I had little ideas with my friends, my cousins, started up my own little lawn mowing business, go on my auntie's lawns for $20, come back the next day and mow it again.
Not get paid.
Entrepreneurship for me was, I guess, something that's always been a part of me, but it hasn't been until the last few years where I've actually been able to try and channel into or hone into it, I guess.
Yeah, so my entrepreneurship journey took a little bit of a different route. I wasn't that innovative when I was younger. I wasn't that creative and imaginative. Entrepreneurship for me only really started in the last about 5 or so years. I never really understood what the word entrepreneurship really meant, and I kind of still don't understand what it means today, to be honest. All I know is I was passionate about money, but I was even more passionate about spending money. So I had to quickly come up with a way to try and counteract my bad spending habits, because I wanted to spend a lot of money on all these wants that I called needs. So a couple of years back, I entered into the Innis 48 Business Startup Competition, and it just opened a whole new world to me. So I was surrounded by a bunch of like-minded people. We all got together and growing up, I was told I was a big dreamer. You're a dreamer, you're never gonna do that. You got your head's in the clouds 24/7. Come back down to reality. But when I entered into this competition, I surrounded myself with so much other people that they didn't say that. They said to me, "That's a great idea, Bronson. It's not gonna work, but it's a great idea." So what I'm getting at is they encouraged me, and so from then onwards I was like, yeah, I like these guys. I like this. I don't want to go and work at a job from Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, and take orders from an old man that I don't actually like. So I was like, I need to find a new route, and I'm so lucky I fell into this entrepreneurship net, and for me it's just, I've never looked back really. It was cool because they were all just as crazy as me, they were just as hyper as me, and they were real embracing, and they were able to take some Māori boy that had no idea what he was talking about and start teaching him new little tricks. So as our presentation goes, we're going to hopefully share a little bit of those insights into what our journey has been like.
Yeah, so you're probably thinking like, why am I still here listening to these two drop kicks who haven't done anything mean with their life or amazing?
No, actually, Chris.
Whakatane, Hastings, you know, why am I listening to them? It's probably like, the reason we thought you guys would say is probably because Nikki's presentation was first and too slow to get out the door, so you had to stay along.
You're stuck listening to us now.
Yeah, hopefully throughout the presentation you'll get to see a bit more about the passion that comes from the work that me and Bronson are doing. So, Bronson and I both started, we're both members of Te Ranganaku, the management school student network that we talked about. Myself, I'm currently on the board for that group, or for this rōpū, and our main aim is to help Māori students at uni, especially the business and management ones, to come from first years all the way through to fourth years and graduate. That's our whole goal. Strengthen, uplift, support, whatever we can do to help these students pass, that's what we're here for. So Te Ranganaku was has played a big importance for me this year. Not so much my first years, because I was quite shy to make use of these resources, but for this year, definitely been a big part of my life.
Just want to add on to that. TRN are not the only support system that you have here. So the Waikato University have a lot of other student union groups that you can also join. And I just so highly encourage you to jump on it, because when you meet new people, you step into new places. And it's just the same cliche. The more people you know, the better it is. So yeah, jump on board. The university have a lot of resources that they really support and help you with. And we're going to touch more on that just a little bit later on as well, on how they help us support us.
So Te Ranganaku, yep, sorry, I got a cold this morning. A couple of years ago, Te Ranganaku, or TRN, was one of the groups that took out the Innis 48 Business Startup Challenge. For those of you who don't know what that competition is about, basically you make a group, and your group is given 48 hours to come up with a business, and in that business, in that competition you learn about market validation, finance and accounting, and you learn how to pitch or how to ask investors for money. This is a picture of our group. The guy in the beekeeping suit is Jono at the back. He's a part of our team, and also Ben. He was the person that, I guess, he had the biggest load. He was the one that pitched for us. But in this competition, TRN took it out a couple of years ago, and last year both Bronson and I were participants in it. We were in two different teams, but I think because we both had a friend that he went through and he won, we're like, oh, he can do it. I'm not going to say his name because you might know him. But if he can do it, then definitely we can do it. And so,
have a guess what I came that year? Anyone, what position did I came that year? Like we were like at the top. There was like 8 teams. We came 8th place. So for me, I needed redemption coming into this year's competition.
And that's the same for me. The team that, I think my team came second. And
second last.
And we actually lost to a group that created a potato pot plant business. So I think it was like, oh, potato pot plants. No, we needed that vengeance as well. So this was us last year. The way it works is that the top 6 teams, you go through this workshop and this 48-hour process, and you give all these, I guess, exec summaries and little checkpoints on how your business will do over that 48-hour period. The group takes the top 6 teams, and that top 6 teams, you get to pitch for the grand prize, which is $15,000. Guess how we did this year? Anybody? All at once. We won it? Yep, chair. We lost. We lost again. And If you can see all of those faces on the screen, disappointment, shame, embarrassed. You know, we really thought we had a really good idea. And so in that competition, the guy in the beekeeping suit, Jono, he's a hobbyist beekeeper. One of his passions is beekeeping, and he thought of a way, which is what our business flows on today, of how we can make the beekeeping process more faster, more efficient, and how we can make it easier for beekeepers. So going into it, we thought, you know, we're going to tear this up. We looked at the other groups and, nah, you're not good, you're not good. And we really thought we had a chance. But then when we got onto that stage, remember at the start, you know, stab and this is exactly what we were going through. And it's been one of the biggest learnings that we've had so far is this one event.
Even though we didn't win, we learnt a lot of things about entrepreneurship. So we call it like flirting. It's called failed learning. So don't be scared to fail. So we'll just go around and say, yeah, no, we flirt that day. Today. All good. We'll get there someday.
And we ended up losing that year to a group of other Waikato uni students who created, I think it was like compressed air in a can. So if you're in China, you can breathe New Zealand air. It was like, oh, dumb, but no. No, they actually did pretty good. They were a really good group. Yep. So Innis 48, that took us to the Field Days Innovations competition. So at Innis, a couple of people shoulder tapped us and said, you know, you guys, your idea would be really good to enter into the Field Days competition where same process, there's a whole bunch of people trying to get investors, trying to get their, you know, their know-how or their product to the market. And so this was us at Field Days.
The guy in the middle, his name's Ureta. He's a comedian. One of the funniest people you could probably meet. He pretty much tore us apart in the most funniest way ever. So meeting new people like that just think differently is always good because you could have the dumbest idea, but he'll make it sound like you have the best dumbest idea. Hey, and to me that's like cool. The best dumbest idea in the world, I'll take that. With Field Days, so I just want to mention that we're all students. We're broke, we got no money, we got no resources, no capital, no nothing. So we didn't have a stand, we didn't have a table, we didn't have chairs, didn't even have posters, we had nothing. So because Chris and I and everyone else in the group, we're all university students, we were able to leverage off the university, we were able to ask them for a bit of help. So they gave us a table to work on, they gave us some, how did we get our posters? I think we bussed for those, didn't we? Bussed for those, and we just came up with a whole heap of ways that we could utilise the university's resources and say that this is our business. For example, when we have business meetings, a whole heap of business people were like, oh, yep, so we'll come down and meet you guys. Where's your guys' office? And we're like, oh, what's the university's address again? So the computer labs are our business offices.
And so this competition, we were put into the grassroots. So it's kind of like the business before the business and then before that business, where you're like really basically you've just got an idea. But to be a part of it, you need to have a prototype. And so our idea basically is, at Innis 48 we decided that we were going to create artificial honeycomb using 3D printers. So we're going to 3D print all this honeycomb, we're going to save bees wasting all this honey to make it, and beekeepers will be able to sell more honey because of it. So we're like, oh man, we need a prototype. We managed to get some, in Geordie's hands, that black and yellow thing, that's honeycomb inside a frame. And so we're thinking, you know, we need to get a prototype just to be able to be a part of this competition. So that, I think it was the day before, right? We managed to sort that out. And if you push the button, on the right, that's our prototype, Woody. It looks cool, but it really wasn't. It was made out of wood. And basically we had this guy that he basically drew like a whole ton of holes in this piece of wood to make it look like honeycomb. And that was our prototype that got us through the competition, or that was what got us into it.
So we had this cheap $100 piece of prototype, and we were out there asking investors for $500,000 from a $100 prototype. So we dream big, we're big dreamers, or Chris is, but I'm realistic. But what we're getting at is we didn't have all the resources or capitals that we wanted or we needed, but we're slowly getting there. We're building it up step by step. And now we've got a whole heap of contacts that actually want to work with us. So we're not chasing them anymore, which is good.
Definitely. So, like even that beekeeper suit that in the picture Sarah has on, She was the only one that could fit it. It was about maybe this high, maybe that wide. So you just have to make it work. But like Bronson said, a lot came out of field days. We were able to get into contact with manufacturers, bioplastic manufacturers, a lot of companies and investors that want to work with us or buy from us in the future. It was a really good event. But however, from field days, yep, next one, Chair, came a lot of publicity and press. So if you see in this photo, some of you may have seen it, some of you may not have, but me and Bronson were on the Paul Henry show talking about our idea, and Bronson managed to be able to, I guess, sweet talk Paul Henry into letting him win a phone. In that top corner we were on breakfast, and since then we've been in quite a few newspaper articles as well.
So these are pretty much the things where it can lead you to from just an idea, because at the start of our days it was essentially just an idea. We still don't know where the finish line is. We think we're really close to it, but realistically we know there's like a whole lot of mountains to get there before we can get to that finish line.
Yep, sure. So after field days, Bronson and I got to the point where it was like, you know, we've generated a whole heap of interest. It's going really good. People are throwing money at us faster than we can catch it. You know, should we just stop uni? Because both of us are in our last year. And we got to the point like, should we just quit uni, do this, and then, you know, in the future, if we don't make it, then we can come back and finish our degree? Or what should we do? And so Pauline at the back, she's the multi-student advisor, multi-mentor coordinator for the Waikato Management School. She takes care of all the multi-students, and because it was an issue that me and Bronson were facing, we asked her, you know, this is where we're at, this is what we're looking to do, how can we make what we want to do practically work for us academically as well? And so through a few meetings, we were able to make that bit happen.
Yeah, so I was, my mum was actually freaking out because I told her I was going to finish university. She's like, no, you're bloody not. I was like, yeah, I'm going to finish university, I've got this business idea. But like Chris said, after these few meetings, I was able to sit down with a few lecturers and talk to them about what we want to do. And now we get to focus on our business full time and cross-credit it academically. So we do our business full time as well as getting our degrees. So it's definitely an option. That's what we're trying to say is, if you have an idea and you want to pursue it, and don't give up on your degree, because like we said earlier, education is still important. It's something that you can fall back on, and it's something that Chris and I are both so hugely grateful that Waikato University are keen as to work with us on that venture that we're following on right now.
I think one of the main things that we want to reiterate is dropping out of uni isn't always the best solution, and sometimes it might take you having another meeting or you sending that extra email to find out what can I do, how can I make it work, that sort of stuff. And so for Bronson and I, it's worked out quite well. This semester we started our first self-directed study paper, where a lot of the meetings and stuff that we've been having, because even though we're full-time students, we're actually still full-time in this business. So yesterday, Bronson and I and a couple others, we arrived back from Palmerston North. We had a meeting with a business incubator for agri-tech startups. Basically, there's a big fund of money. They pick top eight companies, and they inject a ton of cash into you, and they mentor you to help get your idea to the market. For us, we made it to the interview stage, which was yesterday. We went in for our interview. It was probably the toughest 10 minutes of my life, Bronson's life as well. And we were really hammered by all these questions, but because we've had this opportunity to focus full-time on where we are now, we were able to say, question comes like, how are you going to make money? Give him the answer. How are you going to supply products and materials? We can give him the answer, because we've actively been working on it at the same time. And so for us, our journey has worked out quite well with the university getting behind us and helping us along the way. Cool. So here, Bronson and I want to talk about the 5 things that we've encountered that we think those of us here that might, you know, there might be a few of you that think, oh, I've got the next Facebook, or I've got the next, I know, Instagram. These are what you could do or avoid that we made, so that you could skip the problems that we faced on our journey. So number 1.
The first one that we encountered was product. So with our idea, we thought the product must be the number one thing. We must focus on the product. We must make sure that it's the be-all, end-all. Get it? Be-all, end-all. So with this, we soon realised after a couple of weeks that all our attention that we're focusing on was completely wrong, because it's the customer that we should be focusing on. It's the end consumer, the people that are going to pay you money for your product. So that was like one of our first lessons that we learned. And for us, we were just like, hey, why focus on the customer? We need to sell this bloody thing. We need to get our product out there. So it was like, it was a big learning curve for us. And if you've got an idea, we want to say, don't think about the product, think about who you're going to sell the product to, who's going to purchase it off you.
And that's how we came across at field days. You know, we thought our idea was going to save beekeepers millions, and some it actually will. But at this process, we were thinking, you know, our idea is the best. Why do you need anything else? But then when we came to field days, people were like, oh, I actually don't like the look of that, or that wouldn't work in my hive. And so for us, it was like okay, maybe we have to take this back to the drawing board. So putting the product first and the customers last was a big mistake for us. And if you do have a product that you want to sell, keep the customers involved, which is what we're doing now. Number two, thinking there were no other competitors. So for us, we were like, we're the first people to hit this. There's a lot of people that keep asking us, you know, your idea, why hasn't it been done before? Why don't people think of it earlier? And, you know, we think, you know, that's a good question. We don't know why they didn't think of it earlier. And we thought we were the first ones to get there. But after doing some research, we found there's actually like, well, quite a handful of people that are in the same space, but different application or use. So we've learned that there are always competitors, and for us, one of the big ones was the traditional process. So we thought if we create this new way for bees to make honey, it's the top. But really a competitor was that beekeepers might reject it, and that the current process was a competitor to us. So we always have to make sure there's competitors.
We just thought we were the smartest people in the world and no one else had this idea like us, essentially, and that was a big wrong. Our third mistake was the assumptions that we made. We made so many assumptions that, like the first one was, we thought everyone was gonna buy our product. We said, as soon as we make this, beekeepers are gonna buy it and it's gonna fly off the shelves and we're gonna be a millionaire within the first month. We soon came in to realize that that was a big, you're dreaming, boy. So we had to make our list of assumptions of things that we thought were going to happen, but we actually didn't validate. So that was obviously number one, that we're going to make this product and then people are going to say, yeah, I want it. But we hadn't validated that because we didn't actually ask a lot of customers. We asked probably one or two, and they were our friends. And what do you think your friends are going to say? Yeah, that's the greatest idea ever! You don't ask friends.
Don't ask friends. And don't ask family, because mum will always tell you, your idea is really good, and really chuck it in the rubbish. Number four, solving a solution before the problem. And that's one that a lot of entrepreneurs face or get caught up in, is you think of a really good idea and you're thinking, I don't know, it might be a mirror that lights up in red, green and blue. And so you've got this product that lights up in red, green and blue, and you're thinking that your idea is the big thing, but is there a real problem of somebody needs a red light, a green light and a blue light? For us, we had the solution of what we thought was the big issue, but we didn't quite have the problem nailed down. And so for us, we had to take a step back again, and we had to look at the real problems that were facing beekeepers or beekeepers in this industry. Was it really that beekeepers want more honey, or was it that they want their bees to stay alive longer, or was it that they want their hives to not weigh as much? There's a whole lot of problems that you have to take a step back and just analyze before you jump straight in.
Yeah, so if you've got an idea, don't have the idea, think of the problem first and then provide that solution to the problem. Then you can start getting traction. Move on to the last one. The last one's being too afraid. I'm a very proud person. So for me, telling someone that I've got this great idea and they're not actually smashing it, everyone's going to turn around. When I turn my back, everyone's going to start laughing. Bronson said he was the man and look at him. He's all tickled. So like, what I'm getting at is, don't be too afraid to scared. Jump off that cliff. You know, if you want to go skydiving, go take the skydive. If you want to go bungee jump. Do something that's out of your comfort zone, is what we're really trying to say. Because entrepreneurship, I have no idea what entrepreneurship is, but I'm doing something about it. I think I heard Nikki say it earlier. 2 steps forward is better than no steps at all, right? So something to look at.
And going back to the learning that Bronson was talking about, when we fail fast, we actually realise the problems quicker. So it might be that my red, green and blue light mirror, the red light is too bright. So because I found that out early, it saves me a whole lot of issues in the future. So when we're not afraid to fail, it actually works out better in our interest if we go along that path. Yeah, next one. So I think we have a practical, so I'm not too sure how much time we have, but we'll just keep going until we get kicked out. So we wanted to make it a bit more practical, and I guess take all of you in the audience that might have this dying idea that you might want to get off your chest and bring to the world. And we'll try and help coach you through what we've been through and maybe help you along that process. So does anybody here have an idea?
Don't all jump at once. Just throw a hand up. Anyone? Anyone? Yes. Oh, hey, great.
Just one.
Just one.
The next 2 weeks I'm going to the Memorial Canadian Festival at Arts Centre. David, you my lecturer, he asked us what we want to do. My seminar girl's got really long hair. At Kohanga, at school, she always gets pictures every summer. So my idea was, because she got long hair, it took me ages to go through it, like, how can I make this easier?
Yeah.
So I thought, a kutsu cap, like a shell cap, you put it all in, everything's organic, it's biodegradable, and you've got these buttons, you just push it, whoosh.
And no technology, eh?
You just have it in there, and like to market it, you have like superheroes for the boys.
So what we'll do is we'll ask you about 7-ish questions because we haven't got too much time, and then it'll hopefully get you start thinking about any ideas that you guys have. And if you can kind of like tick those 7 boxes, you're pretty much onto something. And I'd really suggest to do something about that idea before someone else does it. So like the first question would be asking is, this is our lean canvas. So this is a tool that we've been given that we go through a lot and a lot of other people go through. You may have seen it before, you may not have seen it before, but it's pretty effective. And once you work through it, it actually shows some great results actually. So my first question to you is, have you asked people what they think about your idea? Okay. Have you asked a lot of people? Have you asked a few people? Just a lecture. Okay, so then you were in the same boat as us. We were asking our friends, like, yeah, is it a good idea? What do you think, AC? Yeah, it's a great idea. So the first step for you is go and ask as many people as you can. Go to your targets, so go to kindergartens, go to kohangas, and ask those type of people, or ask the parents that go there, because they're the people that's going to be your purchasers, right? So go there and ask them what they think about that idea as your first step. Second one will go is the idea realistic? Like, can you actually make this product or service? So then if you're yes, no, or in between, as long as you're not on the no side, then it's okay. Even if you're in between, just keep working at it. The third one we have is it solving an actual problem? So ask yourself, is it a problem? And if you 100% think that it's a problem, then go for it. Don't stop until you find your solution, really. I think it is a problem because Chris had long hair when he was a little toddler and he went through the same process. The last one will be, will people be willing to purchase your product or service? So will they actually pull money out of their pocket and give it to you for what you're selling them? A lot of people will say, yeah, I'll purchase off you, and then go away 3 months later, you ring them back up, hey, I got this product, do you want it? And they're like, I'm not too sure, I haven't got my money, I'm spending on it this week, I'm a bit low on cash, on funds. Yeah, so they'll have a whole lot of excuses and reasons, but what I'm getting at is ask them questions like, would you buy it? How much would you roughly buy it for? And that's it, and just leave it at that. Then you've got, if you do that 1,000 times or 100 times, then you've got 100 different price ranges for what your product is. Another one is competition. We went through it. We said, there is no competition out there. But when you actually look, there is competition out there. We've got 7 billion people in this world. I'm sure one of those people will have come up with an idea that is very similar or exactly like what your idea is. The sixth one is there a place in the market? So look around. is there anything currently on the table? Is there anything on the shelf that you can purchase? And if there is, what is it and how different is it? So I know that you can get some head lice killers or sprays and stuff, yeah. So I mean, just look at what is available in the market now and how unique your one's going to be and the value proposition you're going to provide to customers. And if it's above 100 or above 1, then your foot is stepping in the right direction. So just keep going.
It's global, epidemic.
Yep.
So it's globally so.
Yep.
Using my imagination, I just thought, well, ticket, you buy two, you give one back. So you give $1 into that country.
Oh, okay, yep.
So
Yep.
it's just,
So that's on more the marketing side, the sales side, things?
it's the long run.
Yeah.
How can I get back without paying?
Yep. That's all good. Yeah, that's all good. And then just the last one really is, are you passionate about it? Are you passionate about solving that problem? And if you are really passionate about it, you will actually find the solution to that problem. I get hard working with him, but I still here every day.
Making this follow along. On the board, what we bring up for those of you, like for your idea also, and for those of you that in the audience that might have your own idea, this is the lean canvas. We're hoping to have some printers, but I'm not sure if we do. But there's an order to the way this works. So you start with the problem, you find your customers, and then you find the solution. And each of you can go home tonight, maybe just look up Lean Canvas on Facebook, or Google, sorry.
It's on Google.
Download it, and then just go through the process yourself. Because if you can't make it to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think there's 9 squares all up, then maybe just stop and pivot or change where you're going, or else that idea might be one that you should lay to rest. But this worksheet helps us a lot, and it's one that we use quite often, I guess, to validate our ideas and our business model.
So that's pretty much the tools that we've been given, and that concludes our presentation.
And a round of applause for the chairperson.
Hey, just another round of applause for Bronson and Chris, please. Huh? Do you want to do questions? Do you have any party questions for these two lovely young lads?
Anyone else?
No. So, obviously I've met you guys in the last 2 years and I've seen heaps of growth. From when I first met you to where you guys are now, and it's pretty spectacular. My question is, what advice can you give to Māori students coming into university and wanting to get into what you guys are into, going into? Because obviously, there is this thing called whakamātanga, which a lot of Māori students face, and what you guys have faced, and I know you faced that. But what advice can you give to those people who want to go down that track? Because I mean, obviously, you guys have done a lot of just not putting yourself out there, but getting involved, and I think that's key. But how do you get past that whakamātanga to be able to get involved?
So essentially, he's asking, how do we get over the shyness barrier that we as Māori have? And Chris is going to answer that question. That's a great question, Chris.
That is actually a really good question, and it's one that, in some way, shape, or form, we've all seen it in our lives. For myself, like as Bronson mentioned, when I moved back to New Zealand from Australia, I enrolled in a massage therapy course. Like, this course is easy, I don't have to worry about a degree, student loan, it was really low risk to me. But my wife kicked me out of that, put me into uni, and when I started uni I picked business because I thought in my head it's quite safe to be able to take a corporate option, be an accountant, work in an accounting firm, or be a logistics person and work in supply chain. I thought it was quite simple, but as I've gone through, like you mentioned, there's things that, I guess, little barriers that subconsciously I knew of, because I always thought, I'd never be the person that would be able to ask investors for money, or I'd never be the person that would have the really good idea. My ideas would always be average. And I'm not sure if it's just because that's how the culture may have been where I was raised. Māori economic development and Māori performance, or I guess achievement, isn't quite high in Hawke's Bay, it's actually quite low. And so coming into uni, I think it was always on my mind, but I think like Bronson will agree, it just comes down to the accepting an opportunity and then just running with it. I mean, you may never be obviously I'm not the fastest person in the room, but I'm fast enough to run. So I think for us, it just comes down to the point where we have to believe in ourselves and then just take a chance and then go with it, whatever happens.
Mine's going to be quite similar, but I'm just going to get to it. They've got an innovation station just across the road, so that's where all the entrepreneurship happens. Not only Māori, but every ethnicity. If you've got an idea, just get over there. Talk to somebody. Walk up to the scariest person and introduce yourself, because that scariest person probably knows just about everyone in the room. Walk up to the smartest looking person. He'll probably know everyone in the room. So just go and meet someone and say, hey, my name is John Smith, and I'm keen to get into entrepreneurship. I'm keen to get into innovation. And just, that's where it starts. I mean, if you followed my route, you'd probably crack up, because I actually followed my nose. There was a meeting one day and they said that it was free food. So I followed that sign in there. And that's how I ended up in entrepreneurship. I met a whole heap of people that were like keen talking about entrepreneurship, innovation. They got this great idea. I was like, oh, what's that? And I'm while eating on my burger. So I'm just like, that's how it started for me. So just go to an innovation station and just introduce yourself. That's how I'm going to say get involved.
Okay, so we're quite limited on what we can and can't say. We thought we could tell the world and everything about it, but we've met with some lawyers and some patent attorneys, and for us to be able to protect it, we can't go too detailed.
Pretty much got a slap on the bums because we were saying a lot of things that we shouldn't have been said.
But we can give you an overview. So basically, the way that beekeepers produce honey is that they allow bees to collect this honey and they store it in honeycomb. If the honeycombs aren't built, the bees will build it themselves, and that process is quite inefficient. So it takes 10 kilos of honey to create 1 kilo of beeswax, so there's a lot of wasted honey. Essentially what we're trying to do is use artificial honeycomb or create artificial honeycomb so that the bees don't have to make the honey, they don't have to waste the honey. So beekeepers will put these pre-drawn combs or these frames that we produce. Bees come in, their only job is to fill it up with honey, beekeeper takes it out and harvests it. Faster turnaround, faster yields, basically trying to make the bees' workload smaller and more focused. But yeah, it's essentially artificial honeycomb.
In a nutshell. No more? Great.
In here this one. Cool. So on behalf of the University of Waikato, I just want to thank you with these gifts. Sharing your program. And we've also got a gift for our
Sure.
Oh yeah, you too. Yeah, I'm gonna walk away with something today. These boys are naughty for asking you to come up and do their mahi. Awesome, whānau. So just another pānui about the Kīngitanga Day forms. If you can write your name and email address and number on them. We're going to be doing a draw after the second kōrero that's going to be at 2 p.m. here. So afterwards there's going to be a kai, and then you can come back at 2 because we've got another amazing panel that's going to get up and speak. Just following tikanga Māori, I'm just going to close our session with karakia. So kia noi tātou, kia tau, kia tātou katoa, te ata whai o tō tātou ariki a ihu karaiti, me te aroa o te atua, me te whiwhi o tangata, ki te wairua tapu, ake, ake, ake. Āmene.